I'm going to show you how to build your own starship in No Man's Sky. Before we get too far into the video, I want to make sure you guys are aware there are 4 variants that are currently available to be built, and that is the Fighter, Hauler, Explorer, and Solar ships. More may be added later on, I'm sure. That is all that we have on the menu. The long and short of building your ship is you need to bring other ships to a space station, head on over to the ship outfitting part of the station, go on over to your salvage analysis, and then the ship that you currently have in the star station with you, you can take out a customization module. So in the case of the ship that I have here, you can see from the hologram there that it has the halo wings. If I want the halo wings to be able to use them, I go to salvage wings, and then I get those wings available to build with. Note that we do not get anything else from this. Maybe if you get like a higher one that has modules on it, you might get the upgrade modules, but you are not going to get the credits for scrapping the ship, only the customization option. Once you've done that, you can bring the parts over to the fabricator, where you are now able to place your parts in. Note that to get the reactor core, all you need to do is head on up to the ship research merchant, where you'll be able to buy a reactor directly from them. This will dictate the class of the ship, and so is therefore much cheaper than upgrading it if that's something that you want to do. We'll talk about why you might pick a lower class towards the end of the video, but for now we're just going over the basics of putting your ship together. So with that said, to complete the ship, all you technically need to do is fill all the slots in, add a reactor, and now we are able to color the ship, and then we can press assemble so that we can see the stats. If that is enough for you, please leave me a like and a hammer emoji before we continue into some other parts where we get into some tip territory. Firstly, we'll go over how we get parts more quickly. We have 2 main options. We can either purchase ships directly in the space station, or we can go and hunt abandoned ships out on the planets. The first tip then, if you are going to do it the fast way, which is to purchase the ships on space stations and then scrap them, is to make sure that you are in a 1-star economy and that you are in a system that is more likely to give you the parts that you want. So for example, if you want to build a fighter, you should go to a 1-star economy that has the Viking present, because they are more likely to have fighters, and therefore you can get more fighter parts from a system like that one. You then get the explorer ships from the Korvax and the haulers from the GEC. Of course, solar ships, they come from the pirate systems, so go to one that is going to fit the kind of ship that you are trying to build. The other option, as I said before, is to go and hunt abandoned ships, and the best way to do this is to set up a base on an underwater planet. This is because when you're in the Nautilon, once you get the scanner upgrade, we are able to scan directly for drowned ships, which, as you can see right here, we have one marked directly on my compass. I can go right over there, get a new ship, and take it back to have it scrapped for free. So choose whichever method and location matches your specific situation until you have a selection of parts so that you can continue. So once you have the parts that you like, then there are a few things that you're going to want to consider. This is all really weird. If you're the kind of person that hates RNG, I'm sorry to tell you this, there's a lot of RNG here and a lot of things that can affect the stats. For example, and I'm not entirely sure if it is the parts specifically that have better or worse stats than each other, because that's going to be hard to tell, as you'll see in a second. First off, if I go ahead and put all of the parts in here and then check the stats, let's take the potential damage as an example right now. In fact, no, we won't, because this one has been upgraded. Let's check maneuverability. 476. Okay. If I come back and I change the thruster here, you're going to see that maneuverability has changed to 601. And the damage has also changed because the upgraded tiles have also changed. Something else that can change this though, so if we just get ourselves back to the original build here, let me just remind myself what this maneuverability was. 476 and 394, right? Let's just remember that. If I come on back out and I change my ship and then put the parts back in, 396 and 504. We have different parts again, just because I've changed my ship. And this is also going to be the same if we change system. So if I just go to any other system right now, and then I put those same parts in again, we should find that we have different stats all over. I would probably recommend that you build the ship based on looks, because the game, luckily enough, is not that hard. This is why you might decide to have more than one reactor type, because whether or not the ship starts as an S class also affects the ship's base stats. Although I think the fastest thing that we can do do to cycle through the stats is to go to each station, cycle through each of your ships that you're already using, and then if you don't find the stats and slot layout that you want, move to a new station. Additionally, it's also worth noting that once you've built a ship, all of the stats change in all of the stations again, so you can't really get used to a station having good stats. This will become completely random every time you build a ship. And lastly, this is more to answer a question more than being a recommendation. As far as I can tell, the stats are locked in on reload as well. So whilst I think it's faster anyway, even if saving and reloading did help, just in case somebody wanted to know, if you do like build a ship and then reload on the same station, you're going to get the same stats again. The seed is kind of already locked in for a certain amount of builds. If stats matter to you, you may well be at this for a while.